Make sure we're live here. There we go. Cool stuff. Good morning, everyone. Dave DeVeridis here. We got right at the top of the hour. I'm going to give everybody a minute or so to catch up that we're on here. And man, I've got an exciting call for you today. This is the meat. This is the absolute meat. And it's not about products. So cool. We got a few people hopping on here. Hey, Kevin. Hey, Jerry. So everybody a minute or so, and we're going to talk about a cool subject today. Is what's the asset value of your business? How do you determine that? So we'll get into that in just a minute. I got two screens going, and I'm doing different things on each one. Great. Hey, Darlene. Let's tilt that one up a bit. All right. We'll give it about a minute, okay? And then we'll get started. Cool. Okay. A few more people happening. Yo, bro. Hey, Kevin. Yo, bro is right. All right. Tell you what, I've got a minute after. It's going to be going on 2 minutes after here in just a moment. Let's rock and roll. What do you say? So good morning. It is Saturday, the 29th of September, 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. Thanks for joining us this morning. This morning's conversation, I want you to put your business caps on, okay? And I'm going to share some concepts and ideas with you that were presented to me years ago, and I finally got what network marketing is all about. And when you get this, when you understand this, it's going to blow your mind, and you're going to go after your business in a very different way, okay? So the first thing I want to chat about is this. What's the asset value of your business? Any idea? Is it worth just what you're bringing in each month? Is it what you're focusing on? People that are, how many people you recruit? How many times you share on Facebook? But what's the value? Once you get the answer to this, everything changes. So let's talk about, first of all, what is asset value, okay? Number one, asset value, and this is the definition by Robert Kiyosaki, who wrote the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, came out in 1997. An asset, okay, cash flows or brings cash to you. A liability cash flows money away from you or out of your pocket, okay? So which do you want? Do you want an asset that's flowing money to you, or do you want a liability that's taking money away from you? So let's chat a little bit about that. What are assets and what are liabilities, right? And we're not going to get into balance sheets and income statements and all that, but you need to understand this, and most people don't get this, okay? Our business, you're earning money every month, is an asset. Now I'm going to show you what your asset is worth, but that's an asset because it's flowing money to you. A payment on a car would be a liability. That's cash flow going out of your business, okay? And to a major extent, even a payment on a house, unless you have it paid off and it's bringing you in money, I'm thinking of Kevin right now, he's got an Airbnb, that property is probably an asset, bringing in cash flow, right? But for most of us, if we're paying on a house, most of us have a mortgage on the house, right? Now the bank counts the entire thing as cash flow to them. So the loan they make you on their balance sheet, they call that an asset. But on our own personal balance sheet, if you bought a $200,000 house and you had to put money down and say you only owe 150, well, you have 150,000 liability and the potential of 50,000 profit the day you sell it, but you can't get it now, right? So in terms of the definition of cash flow, It's not flowing money to you right now, right? Now, we all need a place to live. I'm not saying don't buy a house. All I'm saying is understand what assets are and what liabilities are. Here's a great example. A friend of mine in the aircraft business, this was back when I met him. I actually moved my company down to Sarasota, Florida, and I was working with this fella, and I was blessed to have, keep about 12 to 15 airplanes on the lot. I call it the lot, the used car lot. On the ramp in front of me, he was a much bigger dealer, probably had 2-3 times as many airplanes. I had about $1 million, $1.5 million in inventory that the bank lent me. And he had about $4 million worth of inventory. And I remember standing there in front of his, the big picture windows we have, looking at the airport, looking at the runway 4 coming into Sarasota. He looked out there and he, with a cigar in his mouth, and he'd go, "Look at all my assets." They weren't assets. They were liabilities. They were potential equity when he sold them, but they weren't an asset. He was paying the bank. He was paying for maintenance. He was paying insurance. They were liabilities. So most people think the stuff they have are assets. They're really not. So let's get back to the subject of what's the value of your business. Let's say you've reached the rank of gold. Okay, gold is that first, really the third rank in the business, but it's where you start earning the lifestyle bonus, right? Gold is 3,000 volume. You have to have 5 brand partners, 4 customers. One of those brand partners had to reach bronze. Okay. The way our compensation plan is structured, you're in that 3,000 volume range plus the bonus, the lifestyle bonus. When we hit there, we were seeing anywhere from 1,000 to about 1,200 per month. Actually, every 4 weeks. Let's just say per month. Okay. So let's just keep this simple. Let's say $1,000 a month. How much real estate would you need to bring you in net after expenses, right? So you have a rental property. The part of it that is equity, right? Let's say you have a rental property, and by the time you pay your taxes, your insurance, maintenance fees, you clean it up. I mean, me and a partner had 12 houses. There's some that people leave it to trash, and it'll take us another 30 to 45 days to get it ready to rent again, right? But if to earn $1,000 a month free and clear from real estate income, you are going to need somewhere in the neighborhood of a $200,000 asset. Okay. After 12 years in real estate, this is what the numbers end up being. Okay. $1,000 a month income, you need an asset of $200,000. Now, if you had to buy it as a rental piece of property, banks are going to say it was $200,000. Banks are going to charge you 20% down. That's $40,000. Most people have trouble coming up with $40,000. What if you were making 1,000 on? Well, let's say that was real estate, right? In real estate, how about if we did it on stocks, right? How about if you went stocks and bonds and annuities and like that? How much would you need to be? What would that asset need to be? You got sitting over there. You saved up, right? So you can now invest in stocks and bonds to make $1,000 free and clear a month. It's the same thing. It's around about $200,000. So if you are gold here with Tavala, earning about 1,000 a month, actually 1,000 every 4 weeks, you have an asset value in your business of $200,000. We know that because you'd have to have 200,000 in real estate, you'd have to have 200,000 in stocks and bonds. And how long would it take you to come up with $200,000 to be able to invest in bonds and stocks? In this industry and in this business, we don't have to do that. We can start out fairly inexpensively. We can start out by sharing, building our network, right? And creating an asset value to ourselves. So even at gold, 1,000 a month, you'd have to have an asset value of 200,000 to equal, and any of these other types of investments to equal that same $1,000 clear a month. Okay. And again, in real estate, you'd have to have the house probably paid off to be able to clear out 1,000 a month after taxes, insurance, and expenses, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. That's pretty cool. So people say, oh, I'm only making 1,000 a month. You're looking here. I'm looking here. That gets better. Check this out. Let's go with purple. I hear it's in. Let's say you're making $5,000 a month. And by the way, Joy and I experienced that at Rose. Yeah, I'm not saying you will. What we did is we built wide, meaning we kept enrolling because those first three levels of the comp plan pay out 70% of the team commission. But why do you go? The faster you develop an asset value because you're bringing more money into your household. Remember, an asset is cash flowing to you, right? So we were somewhere in the neighborhood of 25,000 volume, which is Rose. Oh, by the way, a lot of people get to gold. We've got people watching right now that got there in 28 days. So in 28 days, you can actually create a value. Now, in a few minutes, I'm going to share with you how to create it substantially, sustainably, stably, so it has value that you could actually sell. Did you know you can sell your business? You can sell your distributorship. You know that happens all the time in our industry. It has value. You can leave it in your will to your kids. It's considered personal property. You can leave it to your kids, your spouse. You can sell it. I'll share some stories in a few minutes of people that sold it, what they did. Okay. But let's say you're making $5,000 a month, and Joy and I got to this about the four and a half month mark. Okay. 5,000. Now here's the math. If you want to figure out exactly what you're making, what the asset value would be equal to, you're looking at, you take what you're making each month, multiply it by 200. That'll give you the asset value. So to have an investment vehicle, whether it's real estate or stocks and bonds or anything like that, to make $5,000 a month, you would need an asset of $2 million to yield that to you every month. Guys, I didn't make this stuff up. This comes from Richard Bliss Brooke, who was a multimillionaire in this business in 1978, 1979, 1980, somewhere there. He wrote this all down in his book called The 4-Year Career, okay? As he was trying to get people to understand what the value was here. You see, we don't sell products. We build networks. And in this network, product gets moved. And as it gets moved, cash flows to you. So it's an asset. And the bigger, more substantial, sustainable, and stable we build it, guys, we were there in 4.5 months. Where else on the planet can you create an asset value equal to other investment opportunities that's going to give you $5,000 a month, doing it part-time, starting with little or no money, and going after it, and having a monthly auto show, right? Ooh, that's going to be key in a minute. Stay with me on that one. That's 5,000. That's the asset. I'd have to have $2 million in the bank when we were making $5,000 a month to yield that same thing, or $2 million in real estate to yield that final thing. Okay, is that right? 5,000 times one? No, I'm sorry, I got you wrong. That's $1 million. Sorry, bad math. It's only $1 million. So 5,000 times 200 is $1 million. So we'd have to have $1 million asset to create $5,000 a month in real estate, stocks, bonds, annuities, whatever. So how much is your business worth? Even if you're making $500 a month, right? Times 200, if I can do the math right this time, that's a $100,000 asset, asset that you'd have to earn that $500 a month. This is probably the most powerful thing in this industry. It's why I believe network marketing is the last place on the planet for people like you and me, everyday people that can create an asset income that is substantial. I got ahead of myself here because when Joe and I went to 10, that would have been 2 million. Okay. Numbers are just floating in my head. So what's the asset value of your business? Pretty cool, huh? Let's do a little check-in here on asset auto. Okay, cool. We'll get that. Let's see if anybody's making comments. Let's see. Hey, everybody. Hey, Chris Rose. Charlie's here. Hey, Jen. Larry Myers. Kevin. Yeah, going back too far. Cool. Well, thank you, colleagues. Darlene, amazing information. Yes, yes, yes. This is how you have to look at it. Guys, we're business people. Let me shift gears on you a little bit, since You brought this up, darling. No, I was kidding. Let's talk about what's the one thing that creates the stability that builds your check more than anything else. And it's not recruiting. That's one piece of it. A bigger piece of your asset value, which is a stable check. You see, it's not always about, you're growing super fast, right? Because I think what we're really here for, and if I could change the conversation a bit in your head, we'd love to see that, but what we're really wanting to see is a stable check of 5,000, 10,000, 20, and 30,000, right? We want it stable. There's only one way to make it stable. It's called auto ships. Auto ships have more to do with your asset value than recruiting. They both have to happen. But the one thing that creates, let me tell you a couple stories. Randy Schroeder, Nu Skin, huge organization. By the way, this whole conversation started with Val Campbell. So thank or give your love to Val Campbell. We were talking. He was friends with Randy and a few other people I'm going to mention too. Randy had a huge organization. He went to sell the organization. He had tens of thousands of people in his organization on an auto ship. That made the sell price of his organization millions and millions of dollars higher. It was the auto ship. He understood that he was building a network. He wasn't selling products. He was building a network that product moved through because he understands the concept of asset value. Okay. Friend of mine, and Val's too, Onyx Cole. Her first business she was in was Mona V. 6 years, single mom, 3 daughters, down in Florida. She created about $10 to $12 million. Now, I had her at one of our events because she joined our last company. We became friends and started doing trainings together, which was awesome. And one day in front of the whole group, I think we were in Deerfield, Florida, she said, it was worth about, I made about 15 to 16 million. Well, I asked her afterwards. Last time I heard the number was, she said, well, I sold the business. Okay. I said, how were your auto ships? They're fantastic. She understood asset value. You see, she wasn't playing a little mom and pop little grocery store game where you got this one little product and we got great products. We got the foundation here, right? We're where Mona V was 10, 12, 14 years ago, right? We're where Nu Skin was 15, 20 years ago. That's where we are. And if you don't focus on this is where you need, let me put it this way, focus on this to create the huge income, to create the asset value, understand what you're doing at each place, okay? So she had a huge downline. Also, she was in front of the group and she said, what do you want me to talk about? She was just off the cuff and just authentic. And I said, everyone wants to know how you did what you did. Here's what she said. She said, that's simple. This is the first time I heard this. She said 2 a day. But she didn't do 5 days a week. She did 2 a day every day. So being the questioner, and I really want to interrogate her, I said, okay, whoa. What'd you do? She goes, well, first of all, it started out with her and a handful of girlfriends who were in her business. They said, we're all going to do 2 a day every day. After about a month, there was only 2 of them doing it, Onyx and somebody else. After the second month, that person dropped out of doing it, and Onyx kept doing it for 6 years. Now, she never pitched the business. She would meet people in the grocery store line, other moms, and connect with them, and she'd pull out 2 business cards and say, let's connect on Facebook. I'd like to get to know you more. She'd hand them a card. Sometimes they would look and go, oh, what do you do? She goes, I just got a little business. She wouldn't even talk about it. And then on the back of the other card, she would write their name down. When she got home, she would connect with them on Facebook. When they would see her, single mom, raising 3 kids, having a lifestyle, being able to be at home while they were out working, they eventually would say, what do you do? And then she would share with them. She never pitched product. She never pitched her business. You wouldn't know it. In fact, at the first meeting, she wouldn't even talk about it. Okay. So I know everybody on Facebook just throws up on you. They're not successful. Okay. You're doing it. Please stop. Build the network. She built networks. That product moved through, and then she built asset income that she was worth millions of dollars to her 6 years. Okay. So that was another story. Third one, guy from, this is from Val. I've heard of these people. It was Terry and Yvonne McEwen with Amway. He built, at one time, he built the largest home, single family home in Florida. He sold his downline and got out. Amway was going through some stuff at the time, so I think that was part of AM getting out. He sold it for millions of dollars because he had tens of thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people on auto ship. Auto ship is what creates the stability in your check. That's when you understand that it's all about asset income and asset value. Then what you do starts relating to that. It's not just sharing product. It's not just sharing trim or Amazon Go. We've got amazing products. They need to be for us to do what we need to do out here. But don't lose sight of where we're shooting for. We're shooting to build an asset value that creates money, whether you sell this distributorship or not, right? Deed it. Leave it in your will to your kids. You can sell it when it gets big enough and strong enough. Would somebody buy a gold distributorship? It's pretty easy to duplicate that. Why would I pay you a bunch of money if I can get there in less than 28 days, right? When you start getting into these other size checks, and if you build this correctly by focusing on the auto ship, right, then you've got something of value. Because when your check is really solid, then you can show a potential investor, this is what you can count on. Now, they're not going to give you the entire amount because they want to make a profit, right? Rule of thumb years ago, and I don't know if it's the same today, was if you sell a business, you want to be able to pay back that investment in 4 years. Well, if you're making, say, $5,000 a month, so in a year's time, that's $60,000, right? And 4-year payback on that 5,000, 6 times 4 would be 240,000. You should be able to sell that business for that mid-$250,000 range. So you've been making the money off of it the whole time. Then you make an extra $250,000 and go do what you want to do, right? Same thing applies here. But when you're at the lower levels, the beginning levels, they can replace that. Okay, so the value is probably not there to sell right then. You start getting up to the 10, the 20, the 30, the 50,000. You got crazy numbers here, guys, because you have built something. You've done it in the cracks of your life. You've done it with efficacious products, and it's something you can be proud of, right? And maybe it's time to move on and do something else with your life. I don't know. Okay, but so see the end game here. I don't plan on working this business the rest of my life. I'm trying my damnedest to replace myself, right? I want to get up to here, help you guys get as far as you want to go. I want to do other stuff too, right? I love this game because of what we're building and how fast we've been able to build, right? Hoping you're loving it too. Let's see what we got. Let's go. Good stuff. Thanks, Kizzy. Hey, Kelly. Cool. So let's talk about this for a second. You guys digging this? Sorry. Grew up in the 60s. All right. So let's. All right. If these numbers are too big and giving you a headache, I hope not. So now you're starting to understand a little bit about asset income and asset value. It's not coming off so good. Still a little spray on there. Whoop. I don't know if you guys knew, this is not a whiteboard. This is actually my wall that I painted with that whiteboard material. You can get paint right from Home Depot. And I put a cute little frame around it so it looks like a whiteboard. So I've been using it so much, I may need to put another coat of that glossy paint on there. Okay, so I'm going to leave up these top two, which asset is cash flow. Let's talk about auto ships for a second. The company just made it distinctly easier on all of us because remember, our goal is to get the asset value of our business up by offering 10% off on all auto ships. So what does that do for you right now? That gives you an opening to have a conversation and go back to everybody on your team. And maybe they've kind of disappeared, joined the witness protection program or whatever. Go back to them and say, we can save an extra 10%. Right? Well, let's go back. Let's go to the beginning of this. Auto ship. And let's start with the most important person on your team. Auto ship. Company now offers 10% off. That's awesome. They've been working on that for a long time. That's awesome. Just paying for the the programming to get that in place. Auto ship. How much should your auto ship be? Quite frankly, it needs to be as much as you can possibly spend every month. As much. Really, right? We're talking asset here. This is business. This isn't, oh, I'm kind of tight. This is business. This is where you need to be, okay? Even if you bought all of our products every month, right? Trim, control, shakes, brew, Amazon, gold. What am I thinking here? Oh, QRS. And how you might as well throw in the Tavala. You might as well look good when you get there, right? The Tavala Organics. I know I need more than most, but Tavala Organics, you're looking here in the States at $504 a month. If you had an asset income, or if you had an income coming in at $5,000 a month, would you spend $504 a month to be a product of the product, to share that, to be the person on your team, the most important person to set up an auto ship in your organization is you. If you were to do that, oh, sorry, we can take 10% off of this, right? So minus 50 and 40 cents, that leaves us with $453.60, right? If you can hand somebody $450, I'll tell you what, if I gave you $453 every month, would you give me that? Would you do that with me? Would you give me that if you knew you're creating this and creating an asset income at this point of $1 million asset? Would you do it? Absolutely you would, right? Absolutely you would. What do you do with all the product? Use them. Joy and I always have extra product. We sell them too. People, I got somebody buying product on Monday, box of trim. Some people don't always go through the company, something, whatever, right? We're turning product and we're products of the product. Be on as big an auto ship as you can possibly be on. This is your business, okay? And when you understand this, you'll understand that conversation even better, okay? Now, I know not everybody can do $500. I get that. I get that. But if you'll build your business, at what point could you do it? When you hit gold, you're making 1,000 plus a month. Every 4 weeks, you could spend $453 to build. You could. You might not, but you could, right? At what point would you be both feet in? So I always say on some of our pages, be all in. This is all in. If you understand this, this makes sense, right? So be on the largest auto ship you can be on. Hey, it doesn't have to, it's not all the products. I like all the products because it gives me a chance to talk to a lot of different people. If you have to, focus in on one. Right now, my go-to product, I love this Amazon Gold. I'm absolutely stellar. I'm in love with it. I think it tastes fantastic. I'm also a fan of the trim, but Amazon Gold's my number one. Probably my number two is between trim and the shake. You know, buy as much as you can. Buy as much as it's going to help fund your business. Not that if you spend all this, you're going to make that. You're going to become a product of the product, okay? You're going to establish, and even more important, you're going to establish the most important thing on your team, and that is culture. When you have the culture established on your team of auto ships, you will create a substantial high check that's consistent month to month, which makes the asset value of your business go higher. Okay. So I want you to get out of the mentality of the rat race. If I got to enroll as many as I can, yeah, you want to keep sharing. But if you'll share with the attitude and make sure, hey, share this video with your new people. I'll make it a YouTube. When they understand this, they're in. And they're going to play at an entirely different level. Okay? Cool. I know, I sure wish I could get excited about this. So it's not people in your downline, it's the number of people on auto ship that create the checks. Truly. If not, then you just got to keep recruiting. At some point, this is what I want. Then it's going to have huge value. Okay? So if your check is even down here right now, that's cool. Most of you don't have a lot of auto ships going on, so it's not stable, so it does this, right? That's never fun. Ours is not as stable as it needs to be. If you'll start thickening that up and making it more consistent first by you being on ownership, this thing will start to grow, and you'll see it go to here and here and keep growing, and your asset value is going to go up and up and up. Okay, now you have something you can sell. Now you have something that you create value in. There's two parts of this business that it's a two-edged sword, truly. When I started my real estate company, it took quite a few $1,000s for the property and everything I had to put into it. When I started my aircraft business, it took more than a few $1,000s. I got a financial backer, and anyway, and then we borrowed a bunch of money. And because we had so much personally invested, I was both feet in. I had to be. This industry, one of the advantages is, like our company, you can get in with no enrollment fee. You don't even have to place an order. Can you see where that has nothing to do with asset value? If anything, it's a detriment. So we can come in with nothing, very little, so we don't have any skin in the game. And we tend to treat it like a customer. So let's talk about auto ships. We have a customer attitude and we have a business attitude, okay? And this was the conversation that Val started the other day. There's a customer attitude. Now, why is a customer here? Why are they on auto ship? A customer is here because they're looking for a result of the product, right? And so we talk to people about weight loss, for example, trim, weight loss. They don't really want weight loss. Do you get that? What do they want? They want to look good. They want to feel sexy. Weight loss is just a way to get there. Trim is a way for them to get there. But what do they really want? They want to look good, feel sexy, feel wanted, right? That's in human nature. That's what they want. So if you're talking the ingredients in trim, you're missing them. If you're talking about getting your sexy back, they may not say it out loud, but in the back of their mind, they're thinking, oh yeah, put me in the game, coach, right? That's who we are. So becoming healthy is not just health in itself. There's a reason behind it, okay? So the customer attitude is they're here for the product. They're here for a certain result that the product, they feel like the product will give them, okay? So they're going to want to be on auto ship because they're going to get there faster. Hey, we can get you a sexy new you within 3 to 5 months. Bam, bam, bam. You're going to love these products anyway. You can stay on, but here's my plan for you. As a business person, what's our number one thought when we come into the business? Well, now, after you guys watching this, it's this, right? Okay. So what's going to create that the most? Number one is establishing a culture. That means you go first, you get your auto ship set up, and then you have the authority to tell your team, get your auto ship set up. Get it set up, get it set up, get it set up. Because I'm telling you, you got to watch this video, you're going to understand asset income. And so what you do, Randy Schroeder had a great way. He would say, he put everybody on auto ship, and he said, listen, you can get off at any time, but would you do me a favor? And they'd always say yes. If you decide to cancel your auto ship, would you call me first? Very few people got off of auto ship, okay? Because the butt was on the line. They're like, I got to tell Randy. I got to tell, you know, that was one of the reasons that and I heard him say this in an event, why he had such a high auto ship rate. He put everybody on it. This is what we do. This is what we do because we want to build this for you. How much do you want to leave for your kids? What kind of value do you want in your business? Okay. So we have the customer attitude, and then we have this business attitude. The business attitude is auto ships develop your asset value. Auto ships develop the culture on your team, not my team. It's still my team, but nobody cares about Joy and I. It's the only important people is from you down. They're looking at you. They're looking at you. They want to see their leader, the person they entrusted to come into this business. They want to see you do that. It's like our children. They pay more attention to what you do than what you say. Right? They pay more attention to what you do than what you say. If you're on auto ship and that's who you are and you understand you're going after the asset value, most of them are going to get on auto ship. We've got to have that conversation. We have to have that conversation. So the upside and the downside, it's easy to get in this business, easy to get in the industry. There's no skin in the game. And because of that, most people, even most of our brand partners, treat it like a customer or a consumer attitude, where it's about look at the money I'm putting out, not look at what I'm building and bringing in, not looking at the cash flow and assets of cash flow coming to you. That's the mindset. And that's our job, is to teach that mindset. That when you see what this is, you're going to get in both feet. You necessarily have to. And the company comes up with incentives like get the gold your first 28 days with double the $500 bonus. Or even get the gold anytime. The first time they're going to give you 500. Get the first 28 days 1,000. What do they just do? They just made your asset value greater, right? So, guys, I hope this makes a lot of sense to you. And for those of you that are seeing it for the first time, cool. It should blow your mind. Let's see. Light bulb moment, Kelly said. Cool. I thought it got a little brighter down toward Florida. Cool stuff. Reggie Jackson's on. I don't know if that's a baseball player or anyway. That's why they always say the one and only Reggie Jackson. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys today. How long did I go? Good. 35 minutes. Asset value, auto ship, and that's why we got the auto ship discussion going on. Get on that. Cool. Guys, you fired up? I'm fired up. What fun. Go back and watch this again. I will repost the video that I copied from Richard Bliss book, which is where I got the asset value conversation, I'll even repost one by Robert Kiyosaki, if I can find it again, on his definition of an asset is cash flowing to you, right? Which is what our whole business is. Again, this is the last place on the planet, maybe the last bastion on the planet, where the average person like you and me can create a net worth and asset value in our business. Do it part-time, do it with amazing product, and do it with people we love to be with. Guys, I'll say it. I say this all the time, and I want you to say it with me. Have a fabulous rest of your day, because you absolutely deserve it. Guys, thanks so much for your time this morning. Love you. Hope this made some fabulous sense. Hope it's like, let's rock and roll. Let's build an asset that we can leave for our family, our kids, whoever, sell it, whatever you want to do. It's possible here with Tavala. Have a great one, guys.